Good morning, everybody. And as usual, happy Saturday. Hope everybody's having a good start to their weekend. I am Coach Ray. Thank you for joining me for today's stick mobility class. For today's class, we are going to need access to 2 long sticks and 1 short stick again. And we're still going to be using the Mace bell. So for today's class, I do want to keep it a little bit more simple. And we're going to be focusing on a 360 swing. And then we're going to get into single leg RDL drills with the mace bell or the head of the mace bell facing in on different sides, meaning it's going to challenge either the medial line or the lateral line depending on where the mace bell head is. So we're going to get into a little bit of that, and we're going to get into a little bit of core drills, And I'm actually going to I'm thinking about one right now that I really want to do or have been thinking about, but we'll see if we can actually make it work. Now to start off with, we're going to go through a full body warm-up. We're going to start at the feet and ankles first since we are doing some lower body drills. So we're going to need our short stick here, folks. And we're going to step back. We're going to start in a wide stance, a little wider than shoulder width here. Toes are pointed forward. And I want to get into a nice good horse stance. I want to have the bottom of the stick angled in towards me. And I want to have my hands roughly about chest or sternum height. Make sure you keep those shoulders down. It's just for balance here. So we're going to start by bringing the heels up nice and high. All 5 toes are in contact with the floor. Do not let the level of your body change. And then we're going to bring those heels back down under control, nice and slow. And then we're going to come back up again. We're going to hold that position just for a few seconds here. Down, slow and controlled. Good, heels up. Breathe. Good, down. Now we're going to bring the left heel up and keep that right heel down. And then we're going to switch. So right heel is up, left is down, left up, right down. Good, right up, left down. Let's go east side one more time. Switch. Good, nice and controlled. Switch. Excellent. Keep that right heel up. We're going to do lateral shifts. So I'm going to shift my ankle in towards my center line and then out away from my center line. So that lateral shift here. In, be on that big toe, out on a pinky toe. In, last one, and out. Nice and easy. Back to center. Drop that right heel down, left heel up. Shift towards that center line. Good. Out. Good. In. Out. In. And out. Good. Nice and easy. Bring that heel back down. And we're going to ease off. Good. Now what I want to do here, I want to focus a little bit on hinging. So I'm actually going to place the short stick down. We're going to go with a little bit of a different kind of pattern here, at least in terms of how we're going to stack the class. So we're going to focus on a single leg RDL. We're going to use the sticks here. What I really want you to focus on is keeping good engagement. What we're going to do here is we're going to lift one stick at a time. And this is just going to make sure that we can, again, focus on balancing either for challenging the lateral aspect or the medial aspect. So from here, I'm going to kind of turn to the side a bit. I'm going to have my feet together. I'm going to step forward a little bit more. Sorry about that. And I'm going to have the bottom of the sticks roughly about a foot in front of the line of my toes here. So my hands are roughly about waist height, or sorry, a little bit lower than rib cage height. You can adjust your hands as you need to. So from here, I'm going to keep my left foot down. So I want to keep a soft bend on that left leg. Grab the floor of my toes. I'm going to drive the sticks down about 20% and hover my right foot. Now from here, I'm going to go into a single leg RDL, driving my hands out and driving my right heel back. So I want to be in a nice good position here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift my right stick, drive that left stick down a little bit harder here, and then place the right stick down and lift the left stick and drive that right stick down a little bit harder here. Place the left stick down. I'm going to come back up. Keep that right foot off the floor. Let's go ahead and hinge back into that RDL again. Breathe. Lift the right stick. Drive that left stick down hard. Good. Place the right stick down, lift the left stick. Breathe, nice good control, core engaged. Place both sticks down, come up. Let's go one more time, folks. Hinge, drive that right heel back, lift the right stick. Breathe, back down, lift the left stick. Good, back down. Hold this position. We're gonna do hip airplanes here. So now what I'm gonna do from this position is I'm gonna turn and open my right hip up as wide as I can. And I wanna keep my left knee over my midfoot. And now I'm gonna drop my right hip in as much as I can, getting internal rotation. So you should be feeling a bit of a stretch on that left hip. Open up. Try to open that hip up as wide as you can. Good. Drop that right hip down and in. Breathe. Back to center. Ease off and relax. So you should be you're going to get a lot of footwork, a lot of foot stability, but also we're going to work on those hips as well. So I'm going to face forward here. We're going to do that same thing. So drive the sticks down about 20%. Keep that right knee slightly bent. Hover that left foot. Now we're going to go into that RDL. Good. Lift the left stick. Place it down. Lift the right stick. Place it down. Come up. And hinge again. Drive that left heel back. Left stick up. Good. Right stick. Place the stick down. Come up. Let's go one more time. Hinge. Drive those hands out. You don't need to get into a big hinge here. Left stick up. Down. Right stick up. Good. Down. Now hip airplanes. Remember, like I said, keep that knee in line with midfoot. So open up that left hip towards the ceiling as much as you can. Keep the sticks where they're at. Now we're gonna drop that left hip in. Really get a nice good stretch on that hip. Good, open the hip up. Breathe. Close the hip down. Back to center and ease off. Excellent. Now we're going to go with stick taps, working with hip abduction and adduction. Abduction. So I'm going to have a feet together stance. Left stick's going to be at about 11 o'clock here because I do want to make sure we get our right leg across the body to really get that adductor line active. And then I'm going to have the right stick over at 3 o'clock. Notice the distance. The distance is going to depend on you. You can always adjust that right stick out further if you want more of a challenge. But start off at something that's going to be a relative challenge for you here. Now my feet are together. Right stick is out. Both hands are roughly about shoulder height. I'm going to drive both sticks down. I'm going to grip the ground with my left foot, hover my right foot off the floor, bring it forward, and I want to dorsiflex that ankle here. I'm going to bring it across to the left stick, push, 3, 2, 1, and then I'm going to bring it out to the right stick, push with the outside, 3, 2, 1, back into the left. We're only going about 30%, push, 3, 2, 1, good. Bring it out to the right, push, 3, 2, 1. Let's go 2 more. Bring it across, push, 3, 2, 1. Bring it to the right, push again, 3, 2, 1. Good, one more time. Bring it across, push, 3, 2, 1. Now bring it out again, last one, 3, 2, 1. Back in and ease off. As you're doing this, you should be feeling that almost the groin area, but you should be getting that adductor nice and active here. If you're not getting if your adductor doesn't feel like it's active, you want to adjust your foot or adjust your positioning as you need to. You might need to pull that foot in or bring it out a little bit further. Don't be afraid to play around with it. Feet are together. Now the right stick's at about 1 o'clock. Left stick's at 9 o'clock. Let's go again. So we're going to go with the left leg now. Drop both sticks down, grip the ground with your right foot, hover that left foot, bring it forward and across, push, 3, 2, 1, good. Bring it to the left stick, push, 3, 2, 1. Bring it forward, 3, 2, 1, excellent. Bring it out, 3, 2, 1. Let's go 2 more, doing good. 3, 2, 1. Good, out, 3, 2, 1. Last one, folks. 3, 2, 1. Good, bring it out. 3, 2, 1, and ease off. Excellent, good. Now we're going to work on a little bit of rotation. So I'm going to place one stick down. And what I'm going to do here, we've done this drill before. I like doing this at the end, but we're actually going to incorporate this at the beginning here. I'm going to have my left leg forward, right leg is back. We're in a big split, right? Do not go narrow. This is how you lose balance. So bring your base out wide so you actually can maintain balance and you're not all over the place. I'm going to have, since my left leg is forward, the stick's going to be in my left hand. I'm going to bring it on the outside of my left thigh and bring the bottom of the stick on the outside of my right foot. If the stick's on the inside, it is going to slip, right? Bring it on the outside. Now from here, I'm going to load that front leg, so I'm going to shift forward here, right? That's a part of it. Now I'm going to reach across with my right hand and grab the end of the stick. This already puts me in a little bit of rotation. I'm going to pull back into a tall position. Now from this position here, let go with that left hand, still pulling with this right hand here, and I'm going to rotate to my left, driving my left knee out. So I'm abducting my hip into the stick, which is going to get that glute nice and active, but trap the low back from moving. I'm going to come back forward, and then I'm going to open up again. We're going to do a few rotations here. Back forward, open up. We're going to go one more time, and we're going to focus on breathing to increase that range of motion. Forward, and then open up and rotate. Now, 3 breath cycles, breathe in through your diaphragm and rib cage. So deep breath in, get as much as you can, and then exhale. And as you exhale, you should get more range. Let's go through 2 more breath cycles. Deep breathe in. Exhale. One more time. Deep breath in. Exhale. Back forward and ease off. Let's go ahead and switch sides. So if you're finding that your breath is super shallow, if it's up here, you're probably too far into the range of motion. Don't be afraid to back off it out a little bit. So now we're going to switch legs. Right leg forward, left leg is back. Create that wide base, and that back heel is up a little high here. I'm going to shift weight forward on that front leg. Reach across with the left hand, and I'm going to pull back, right? We're not cranking back. Just come up to a nice, good, tall position here. Abduct that right leg. Let go with the right hand. Open up and rotate. One side's going to feel tighter than the other. For me, rotating to my right today. Back forward. 3 more rotations. Rotate. Good. Back forward. Open up and rotate. Good. One more time. We're going to focus on the breathing. Open up and rotate. 3 deep breaths. Exhale. 2 more. Breathe in. Exhale. One more time. Breathe in. Exhale. come back forward and ease off. Wonderful. Now, we're going to work with the shoulders. We're going to warm them up a bit since we are doing 360. And what I want to focus on is a little bit of shoulder flexion. So we're going to do a little bit of dislocates, and we're also going to work on a little bit of getting some external rotation because we do need that as we actually start to work with this mace bell. So I'm going to cue you a very specific way to make sure you work on how your shoulder blades are actually moving. And I'll actually kind of turn around here. So grip out as wide as you need to. I'd suggest maybe going a little wider, right? A little wide. And what I want you to focus on here, and I'm just going to get to an overhead position here, keeping the arm straight. I don't want you to shrug up. I want you to press the stick up towards the ceiling. Now, it's subtle, but what that does, that gets the shoulder blades to upwardly rotate, right? As we go into that overhead position, your shoulder blades should be upwardly rotating along the rib cage. So that's what we're actually going to kind of practice a bit here. So I'm going to go set up my grip. I'm going to go with a roughly, let's go hip to shoulder width stance here. Squeeze those glutes, lock that low back into extension. I'm going to keep both arms straight the entire time. From here, I'm going to pull the stick apart, about 20% tension, nothing too significant. And then I'm going to bring the stick up overhead. Keep control of the rib cage, meaning do not allow the rib cage to flare up and out. You want to keep that rib cage down. Arms are straight. Now from this position here, I want you to drive the stick up towards the ceiling. You're going to feel a little bit of a change in how it feels. You should be feeling that upper back get nice and active. Now I'm going to increase that tension. Pull the stick apart at 40% tension instead of 20. So driving the stick up towards the ceiling. And then bring the stick back down. Compress the stick once it gets to eye level. Excellent. Pull the stick apart again. Come back up overhead. Nice and slow, 20%. Keep those arms straight. Keep control of the rib cage. Drive the stick up towards the ceiling. Pull apart 40%. Breathe. 3, 2, 1. Back down. And compress the stick. Excellent. Good. Now we're going to shift into working with some external rotation. We've done this show before as well. So stick's going to be in the left hand. We're going to bring it to the outside of the right shoulder so that right elbow is on the inside of the stick here. Grab the end of the stick. You want a full grip, right? I don't want you to go here. If you have to, if it's too much on the wrist, then you can go here, right? That's more comfortable. I'd suggest do that. But want to grab the end of the stick here. Keeping the elbow in front, in line with the shoulder, I'm going to pull the stick apart. Or sorry, not pull the stick apart. Pull the stick with my left hand. We're going to get a stretch in that shoulder here. So we're getting that external rotation. Now, typically, we would rotate against the stick. We're not going to do that today. We're actually going to try to further externally rotate as we're pulling with this left hand just slightly. So from here, I'm going to try to rotate my hand or my wrist out even further, which you're going to feel the shoulder blade move, but you're going to feel tension in that shoulder capsule. Hold. 3, 2, 1. Excellent. We're going to ease off, come out. We're going to switch sides. So it can be a relatively intense thing, but that's okay. Work with what you got. It shouldn't be painful. If it is, reduce your range of motion, reduce the tension. So from here, right hand's on the stick, and I'm going to pull across with that right hand. Get that stretch in the shoulder. I'm just going to hold this position here for about another 8 seconds. Allow that shoulder to get a little bit of stretch. Breathe. Now I'm going to externally rotate, so I'm going to try to rotate my left wrist out even further. So we're effectively working on that end range of external rotation. Hold. 3, 2, 1, excellent. Slowly come back in and ease off. One last thing, real quick, just want to get into a little bit of kayaking. Let's loosen those shoulders up. We need to get them all loose. So we're still going with the short stick. We're going to go with the fingertips at the end of the sticks here, folks. If you have a long stick, you can go with a grip where your thumbs are facing outwards. I'm going to start my right hand up, and I'm going to drive that right hand through, and we're just trying to get as much movement in the shoulder blades as possible. So your speed should be matching mine. You shouldn't be going any faster, right? And try to keep those elbows in extension so we're not cheating the movement. Nice and slow, controlled. Want to try to get as much range as you possibly can here. Good. Let's go a few more here. And ease off. Wonderful. Now, I'm going to first start off with the single leg RDL. Now, for that one, we're actually going to just do 3 reps per leg. However, what's going to change is where the mace bell head is. So, I'm going to go with a 15-pound mace like usual. And so with this, depending on where it's at, it's going to either challenge the medial line stability or the lateral line stability. So if I have the mace bell going, so if I'm on my left leg here, right, from my left foot, and I have the mace bell going towards technically my medial line here, my lateral line has to work harder to stabilize, right, because it's pulling me this way. So I have to work harder on that left hip, on those lateral tissues, to keep it even, right? Now if I had the mace bell going out and I'm on that left foot, now this is going to challenge that medial line, the adductors, a lot more. So we're going to do 3 reps each. We're going to switch legs here. We're not going to do 3, 3, and then switch legs. We're going to do 3, challenging the medial line, then switch legs, and then go back from there. So we're going to start by challenging that medial line here. Where your grip, the mace bell, is going to dictate how much of a challenge it is. If you want less of a challenge, bring it in a little bit more, or bring your grip out a little bit more. If you want more of a challenge, slide that mace bell head out, right? Now I'm going to start on my left foot, so grab the ground with that left foot. You might actually see me fall over today, folks. So I'm going to hover my right foot off the floor, make sure you're gripping the ground, slight bend to that left knee, and now from here, I'm going to go into an RDL. Nice and controlled, try to keep that mace bell horizontal, and then up. Good. Let's go 2 more. Keep it nice and controlled. Up. That's 2. Let's go 1 more. Hinge. Take it slow. Get a feel for what's going on here, right? The ankle and the hip. Back up. And ease off. Wonderful. Now we're going to switch sides. So now we're going to go right leg, arm straight, hover that left foot off the floor. Make sure you're gripping the ground with your right foot. Drive your toes into the floor, and we're going to hinge. This is where you start to see those discrepancies in movement. Back up. Good. Let's go 2 more. Hinge. Drive that left heel back. Up. 2. 1 more time. Up. 3. Excellent. Ease off. Now we're going to switch sides. So as we actually go into now challenging more your lateral line, which for a lot of people is actually going to be a lot more challenging, you'll get a feel for what aspects of your movement that you need to actually work on. So we're going to pick it back up into that same position that I just had it in. So again, the mace bell needs to go across or towards that medial line. So that left foot is down here, folks. Grab the ground with your toes, and you're going to hover that right foot. So you're going to immediately notice that you're going to need to shift a little bit more. That's okay, right? You want to try to keep your head centered over your foot. And now from here, I'm going to hinge. Try to keep that right hip pointed towards the floor best you can. Then up. So 1. Hinge. Ooh, nice and slow. Keep it controlled. Up. 2. One more time. Hinge. Drive that heel back. Whoop. Whoop. And up. 3. And ease off. Now we're going to switch sides. So for me, that left hip, that lateral stability, a little bit more challenging. So now we're going to switch. We're going to go right foot down. Grip the ground here, folks. Grip it nice and hard. Drive those toes down. From here, arms straight. Hover that left foot. Hinge. Good. Up. 1. Hinge, nice and slow. Keep it controlled. Up. 2. One more time. Hinge. Up. 3. Good. And ease off. Like I mentioned, how far away the mace bell head is actually from your center of gravity, the weight actually proportionally increases on the tissues that need to stabilize that movement. So if your mace bell is actually out further or you're gripping in closer, it's going to be a lot more challenging. If you grip out a little wider, more in towards your center line, it's going to be quite a bit easier. So you can always adjust it there as you need to. Now, we're going to go with 360 swings. Now, we kind of went over mace bell swings a little bit the last class and the class before that. But when doing the mace bell swing, or you want to focus on where the mace bell head actually is, you do not want to hit yourself or realistically anything around you. You want to keep the movement as clean as possible, so that requires a lot of shoulder flexion, which is a little bit of what we did before, but shoulder flexion and external rotation. So let's actually get into a drill that allows us to work on that. We're going to take the short stick again, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn around here. Now, I'm going to start with my right hand up. That's going to be the arm that's externally rotating and getting into that shoulder flexion here. So I'm going to take my right hand, and I'm going to place it on the stick here. So it's hanging straight down. Now what I'm going to do with my left hand is I'm going to take it and put it behind my back. The left hand isn't particularly important, or left shoulder. It's actually the right one that I'm trying to work here. Now I'm going to take my left arm, place it behind my back, and I'm going to pull down. Now this puts my shoulder up higher, right? I want to try to achieve this position here. Now from this position here, while I'm pulling down with the left hand, I'm going to lightly pull up with my right hand here. So we're going to get some serratus anterior activation here, but we're really working on that external rotation aspect here. And we're only pulling up about 20%, just enough to get some activation. Good. Now I'm going to ease off. Let's go again. Pull down with that left hand. Get that elbow up nice and high, then pull up with that right hand. And try to think about driving that elbow back. Breathe. 3, 2, and 1. Ease off. Excellent. Good. Now we're going to switch sides. That looked a whole lot cooler than I thought it was going to. All right, so same thing. Left hand is up on the stick. Again, we're here, right? pull down with that right hand. Get that left elbow up nice and high. Now we're gonna pull up with that left hand. Try to get that elbow back. And what you're probably gonna notice is that the tissues around the rib cage, the serratus muscles, are gonna get a little bit of a stretch here, right? And that's okay. If it's tight, you're going to feel it in this particular stretch. And ease off, right? So we're stretching and adding a little bit of activation, folks. Pull down with that right hand, get that left elbow back, and pull up with the left. Keep driving that elbow back. I'm trying to drive that elbow behind my head. So if I turn to the side, try to get that elbow back as far as I can. Hold, 3, 2, 1, excellent, and ease off. Wonderful. Now, let's get into the swings. So we're going to start with our right hand stacked over our left. So the left hand is going to be at the bottom of the mace bell. This means we're going to be swinging the mace bell to the right, all the way around. And we're just going to go that one direction here. Now, as we do this, again, it's getting that shoulder flexion and pulling down once the mace bell swings over to the other side. And so I'll actually pick up and I'll start here, right? And I'll just kind of show you guys a little bit of an example. So if my right hand's up, the mace bell's going to be swinging from this direction to this direction. Now as it comes over, I want to pull my elbows down, right? So that movement goes from here and pulling down, right? But we're not going to go end at this position. We're going to end at a little bit of a longer position here. So let's go ahead and get into it. So I'm going to step back. I'm going to start left hand at the bottom. Right hand is going to end up at the neck of the mace bell. I'm going to bring it up, slide that right hand down. Right, start at a long position, go over my shoulder. And that's 1. Again. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. Good. Place it down. Take a second. Now we're going to switch sides. So this is a really good way to work on that shoulder mobility. So all right, my hands are a little sweaty, and I'm not going to go run and grab chalk. So we're going to go with the left hand at the neck, come up. So now we're swinging the opposite direction, going over the left shoulder. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. One more. 8. Good. Take a second. We're going to switch sides. We're going to go to the other side one more time. Let's go 8 repetitions each way. Now, I'm going to have my left hand on the end here. Okay, we're going to choke up on that right hand. Then your stance, shoulder width is going to be good, right? You want to make sure you keep your feet nice and grounded and make sure that you're not losing balance. There is going to be a little bit of a shift and a rotation as you actually go through the swing. So start up. Start with the mace bell down. Okay. Swing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Good. Now we're going to switch sides. The right hand's on the end. Use the left hand to get it up. Swing to the left. 1, 2, whoop, 3, 4, 5. 3 more. 6, 7, one more, and 8. Excellent. Now, let's get into the deep fascial stretching. Let's go ahead and start cooling down here, folks. So I'm going to take one long stick. And what we're going to do is we're going to start off with slap shot. I like doing this a lot. Again, it's just kind of hit a little bit of everything all at once. So I'm going to take the stick, place it behind my mid back, and we're going to take a wide stance. Take a stance as wide as comfortable, right? So if you're super mobile, you can get your stance out a lot wider. If you need to, you can always bring your stance in closer, and you can adjust it as you need to. All right? Remember, everything is adjustable here, depending on your capacity. Now from this position here, I'm going to go with a slight toe out angle, and I'm going to have the stick in my mid back. I'm going to hinge. So I'm going to drive my hips back, keeping my knees nice and soft. Get a nice good stretch in those hamstrings here. Just going to breathe. Excellent. I'm going to rotate the left end of the stick down to my center line. All right, pull the stick apart, about 30%. I know it's a lot more than usual, but we actually want to get a lot of rotation here. So pull apart 30%, try to lengthen, and I'm going to lunge to my left. So I'm going to drive off my right foot. But then I'm going to drive off my left foot, lunging to the right. Really try to sink into it. Get that left adductor to stretch. Come back to center. Now I'm going to rotate the right end down. Pull apart, 30%. Lunge to the right, so drive off that left leg. Now lunge to the left. Sink into it. Back to center. Rotate that left end down. Get further across. If you can, you should be able to get a little bit further across here. Pull apart, lunge to the left. Ooh, got a nice good adjustment there. Rotate to the right, or sorry, drive to the right. Back to center. Rotate that right end down. Pull apart, lunge to your right here. Good. Lunge to the left. Back to center. Back to neutral. Squeeze those glutes to come up. Wiggle those feet in. Excellent. We're going to take a second long stick. Work on some T-spine extension. T-spine extension. So I'm going to go with a hip or shoulder width stance, whatever allows you to keep your back at the very, very least in neutral, right? So sometimes, I'll actually kind of show you, if you go with the close stance, again, if you're mobile, you can get into the stretch while maintaining a relatively neutral spine, but that requires a lot of awareness of your body, right? So my suggestion, typically, for a lot of people, is to start off with a wider stance. So when I say a wider stance, I mean here, right? Because you can actually move a little bit more smoothly with your hips a little bit more open. So I'm gonna have the bottom of the sticks, maybe about in line with my big toes here. My feet are gonna be at shoulder width, or not slightly wider here. My hands are gonna be at roughly about shoulder height, arms are straight. And what I'm gonna do from this position, I don't wanna keep the sticks here. I actually kinda wanna have the sticks out, so I also get into that pec minor, right? So we're gonna stretch the chest and work on that T-spine extension. So from this position, arms are straight. I'm gonna drive my hips back and drive my hands out, trying to create as much length in the spine as I can. Should be feeling a nice, good stretch in your spine. I'm actually sore from deadlifts from a few days ago, so this feels pretty darn good. So drive out, back up. Good. We're gonna go into it again. Arms straight, drive those hips back. reach those hands out. You should be in a Y shape. If there was a top-down view, it should look like a Y. 3, 2, 1. Excellent. Back up. And ease off. Take a second. And what we're going to do here, I'm going to place these sticks down because we're going to need a shorter stick for this, or it will be better to work with just because it's not swinging all over the place. So we're going to work with internal shoulder rotation. So kind of similar to the drill we did earlier, however, it's going to be quite a bit different. Now I'm going to start with doing my left shoulder. So my left hand is going to be at the small of my back, palm is facing away. So I got my back hand on my back here, right? Now, the stick's going to be going through that space between the elbow, right? So what you can do, here's a little trick. Get the stick under the arm here, and then place your backhand on your back. And again, this is adjustable, which means if you're mobile, get your hand up a little higher. It'll work more of that internal rotation. Now from this position here, I'm going to bring the stick out a little bit just so it's not super far back. And my right hand's stretched out. Now from this position, I'm going to pull my right hand across and my elbow's going to flare out more. All right, you're going to get a nice little stretch in the shoulder. You don't need to necessarily grip the stick with the right hand, but you do want to make sure you can leverage that right hand against the stick here. Now what I'm going to do from this position, I'm going to drive my left elbow back against the stick. Create a little bit of force, not a lot, just a little bit, maybe about 20%. Hold. And now I'm going to ease off that tension and I'm going to pull more with that right hand. So now I'm getting more internal rotation on that left shoulder. So you might be getting a pretty good stretch. And that's good. You're going to hold for 3, 2, 1. We're going to slowly come back to neutral. Release that hand. Now we're going to switch sides. So same thing. Stick is in the elbow here. Right hand's behind the back. If you start cramping, like I'm about to start cramping in a second, don't be afraid to get out of this. So left hand is extended out. I'm going to pull the left hand across the body. Get a nice good stretch in that right shoulder here. Breathe. Now create force. So drive that right elbow back against the stick like you're trying to bow the stick a bit. Again, it's 20%, nothing too significant here. Breathe. And we're going to ease off that tension, pull across with that left hand. Should be getting a little bit more range. Excellent. 3, 2, 1. Slowly come out. Excellent. Shoulders are going to be feeling pretty good, pretty loose here. Now, to finish off, I do just want to kind of get into the bow and arrow. I like finishing off with this. That's just me. Now, for the bow and arrow, we're not going to do our standard. We're actually going to do a different version. So for this version here, we're actually going to step one leg behind the other to create more length on the side that we're actually stretching. So I'm going to step back here. The stick's going to be on the left side of my body. I'm going to have the stick out relatively far from my foot. You'll see why. Now, my right foot, since we're stretching this right side, is going to go behind my left foot here. Now, get yourself into a good position. Stick goes out to the side. Now, from here, we're kind of, for one, hitting that right side, but also automatically creating more length on that right lateral side here. So I'm going to have the stick out to the left. My hand is still roughly about waist height like usual. Right hand up over the top, thumb facing down towards the floor. I'm going to drive those hips away first. That's always the first movement. You might be getting a little bit of a stretch here, and that's okay. Now, drive those hands out. Breathe. We're gonna hold this for about 6 minutes. I'm just kidding. We're gonna hold for about 15 seconds. Breathe. 3, 2, 1. Excellent. Ease off. Now we're going to switch sides. So now sit comes on the right side. Left foot goes behind the right. Get into a good position. Same thing. Left hand up over the top, thumb facing down.